Good evening and welcome back to the One Celtic Fans View tonight. There's lots to talk about tonight. Obviously we're running a poll already. I am running a poll on the channel asking a question. If the fans do want change, and the question is, would you like to replace Peter Lawwell with Martin O'Neill? Simple question. Just get a feeling for the fans that are online with this. And there's been a development when it comes to the fans. Obviously I reported a couple of nights ago that the Green Brigade had been banned from Hampden. The Green Brigade have made a statement, but the BHOYS Ultras group come out with their statement first. Saying that basically last year the Scottish Government set a precedent in professional football with that anti-fan initiative all about pyro, and there's going to be, we all know that there was 500 fans that were going to be not allowed to go to the game. Could you switch that light off? And I've just realised because it's flickering. There's 500 fans not going to get to the game. They were going to be not given tickets, and it was the Green Brigade. The club had decided that it was the Green Brigade that were going to pay for the pyro going off against Aberdeen, and the fact that the game was 15 minutes delayed. And the boys have come out and said that, look, that we're not going to go in. We're going to refuse tickets because it's trying to put a split in the fans. How do you feel about it? Tell us in the comments, because I know that there's a lot of people within the support that do not like pyro. There's obviously the Green Brigade and the boys who do like pyro. And when you look at the percentage of fans, when you look at the percentage of fans around the ground, how do you feel about it? Is this the club trying to... I've already said, I think that the club doing this by banning the Green Brigade altogether. Would it put a split against fans, or would it get fans saying, well, you let off the pyro, deal with it. Deal with it. But the boys have come in and said that they're not going in either. The Green Brigade have since made a statement this evening. I'll just get the Green Brigade statement up, and it's an interesting one. As a result, it says, as a result of the ticket allocation reduction at the upcoming League Cup semi-final, the Green Brigade has received no ticket allocation, although we all wholeheartedly reject the notion of a collective punishment and have regularly defied similar suspensions in the past. We will not be attending this match. Oh, you were banned anyway, so I mean, I know that you can still get tickets and you can go in, but they will not be attending this match. It's a bit of a statement of defiance, isn't it? There's now a war of attrition going on between, and this is what I don't want it to happen, because the fans collective, they're having a meeting tomorrow night, and I got the details of that. There is an online meeting tomorrow night and in person. We'll go into that as well. If I could just find it, there's the meeting there. So that's everything sort of gaining speed as we get back to playing football. The Green Brigade went on to say, we believe that the Celtic support is at a watershed moment for unity and capacity to enact positive change at our club. We are committed to this goal and development of Celtic Fans Collective, which is the best apparatus for improving the experience of all fans. Do you agree with that? Improving the experience of all fans. The collective punishment is unfair practice. I've got to play devil's advocate, and I as much as I love the Green Brigade and I love the Ultras scene and I love what they bring to the games, you can't say it's not fair just banning the Green Brigade, because that's where the pyro came from. The collective punishment is unfair practice. It has repeatedly been used against football supporters for a variety of reasons to force conformity and sow division. How many games, I'm going to put this out there, I don't watch a lot of English football, but how many games in England, the so-called biggest league in the world, how many games in England do you see pyro going off at? If someone could tell me in the comments, because I don't think there's any. I don't think pyro's a big thing in England, is it? I know it says in Germany. What's wrong with letting people light off fireworks in October? The dog shit itself, knackered over the Christmas tree. Didn't get me talking about fireworks, because I live in a country where they let them off day and night. Gladly I stay in a bit of the country that's not as bad as where I was. So I know all about pyro and fireworks and what it can do to dogs. But where do you sit with this? Because I think there's a very fine line that the Green Brigade and the boys are now treading with, trying to involve the fans collective in their unity for letting off pyro. I think that there's a very fine line. And if the collective goes too far into backing the fans for pyro and all the rest of it, I think that could split itself out. Pyro is just another fan behaviour under fire. If it wasn't pyro, it would be something else. It's just criminalising football supporters. Albert, I'm asking a serious question. What other... It doesn't seem to be a thing in Spain, to be fair. It doesn't seem to be a thing in England. There is only... It's a very small minority of football fans that go to games that let off pyro. It's against the law. I think it should be allowed. It's only a bit of fun. Says Ross. Yeah, it can be allowed in the right, if it's done right, I suppose. Because let's face it, when Celtic start the season, there's pyro goes off in the stadium. How can you sell a ticket scheme when you get punished for not taking a ticket? Yeah, and you get that's another conversation for another day, mate. You get taken off the home ticket, the home cup ticket scheme. Celtic have a pyrotechnics license. Do they, Des? How do you find out what this license is and the license number? Just don't use pyro. When the club will get fined or used for it, the Green Brigade and the boys pay it. No, they don't. They don't pay it. That's the thing. The club pays it. When you think about all the pyros teams in Greece, Turkey, Italy, comes to mind even Germany. Yeah, but look at the... I've got to go both ways with this one. I can't just sit and defend. I've got to show both sides of the argument, because it's only fair. When you look at football fans in Europe, you've got a big side of football fans that are very violent and very aggressive within the ultra scene. It's a thing that was, and we were speaking about it the other night, alcohol in Scottish football. Would you like alcohol back? If you want pyro back and you want the ultra scene to grow, say bye-bye to getting your pint during the game. Say bye-bye buying a pint before the game inside the stadium. You're not going to get... You can't get it all. I'm not a fan. The Mootman says I'm not a fan of pyros. I think it's an interesting insight, and it's an interesting set of wording that both ultras groups have come out with, and especially the Green Brigade, where they're talking about the collective punishment is unfair. It has repeatedly been used against football supporters for a variety of reasons to force conformity and sow division. Does pyro sow division between fans? I would say it does. You can see it online. When Celtic get a fine for €20,000, €50,000, you see the reaction from the wider fan base, sorry. You see the reaction from the wider fan base. And if you're trying to, at the exact same time, put out a statement that says, we believe that the Celtic support is at a watershed moment for the club, for unity and capacity to enact positive change at our club. We are committed to the goal and development of the Celtic Fans Collective, which is best available apparatus for improving the experience of all Celtic fans. Do all Celtic fans agree with them being banned? Do all Celtic fans agree that they shouldn't be banned? Do all Celtic fans agree with pyro? It would be interesting to see how that one went out. Don't know. It's there is a fine line, it has to be said. The second part of the Green Brigade statement tonight read as follows. I'll just get it up here. This part does go on to say, irrespective of any perceived concerns, the best solution will always be reached through meaningful supporter engagement, not through draconian sanctions. They're trying to play devil's advocate and say, well, come and talk to us at the collective. They're dragging the collective into the whole pyro conversation here. There's a fine line. There's a very fine line within the support, I think. Further, any demonstration from detached from fans, fairness and transparency. Celtic LC has sold an undisclosed amount of standard tickets as hospitality packages for this match. Price between 150 and 300, including VAT. Ticket touting exposed the club's desire to exploit support and demand so unnecessary division between fans. Finally, we thank the boys for their gesture of solidarity in rejection of unfair practices. We are at a watershed moment with the club, and tomorrow night there is another meeting with the Fans Collective. We look forward to welcoming you to the follow-up meeting with the Fans Collective tomorrow evening at Gracie's in Glasgow at 7 p.m. The agenda, the introduction of the interim steering committee, the summary of actions since the last meeting, the next steps, match day actions, economic actions, an AGM, or the EGM, and the collective development and membership. Pay your subs, pay your union dues. I'm not a fan of unions. I've got to be fair, I've got to be honest. There will also be a time for other business at the end. We aim to finish by 9 p.m. Starts at 7 p.m, it aims to finish by 9 p.m. We strongly encourage in-person attendance. We recognise that all the members cannot be there due to distance or other commitments. For those joining online, please use the private Zoom link. Do not share it publicly. We look forward to the constructive discussion as we continue to build the strength of the Fans Collective together. Is there, from the wider fan base that are on here, I had to leave the section due to getting my lung removed through cancer. Couldn't risk the risk of pyros, especially with COVID. I totally get that. Eddie. Totally get it. Big red flag, Baz. A big red flag? Why is it a red flag? I'm not a fan of 0 hour contract sparks, but you go there. But there you go. Neither am I. And I think the unions encouraged 0 hour contracts. They didn't do enough to fight it. A lot of people paid big money to represent people from unions, and they do fuck all. I think Martin might just scrape this vote. Let's jump into the vote tonight. Obviously, I asked the question before the video went live. Would you like to replace Peter Lawwell with Martin O'Neill And I think that's a fair question. I think that if we want change, we'll have to go with small little increments of change. And I think the resignation of Peter Lawwell and bringing in Martin O'Neill would help the fan base get a little bit more connected to the board. I think that Martin O'Neill would be a great spokesman for the club also. And I mean, let's face it, the chairman, that's all he is just a spokesman for the club. He opens up meetings. He doesn't attend very many. He doesn't have any direct influence on the day-to-day running of the business. But he's there as a father figure. He's there as someone to unite everybody. The chairman, which Peter Lawwell is not doing. And I think that Martin O'Neill would be a fantastic... Maybe Martin O'Neill wouldn't want to take it. Maybe they say, fuck, I've got too much time on my hands. Maybe he would jump at the chance. You never know until you ask. I mean, Martin O'Neill was the one that turned around to Ange Postecoglou and said, what you doing, mate? I hope you're not leaving Celtic. Martin, would you like the Celtic chairman job? I'm just going to I'm going to read some of the comments and see what people are saying about these agendas. Unions are legal gangs. Martin O'Neill all day long. I'm just trying to... I've got a job, mate, and unions didn't fight for the best of you. I had an accident at a factory, and the union rep told me to accept the offer, which was $1,000. And the guy that had the exact same accident 24 hours before with the same machine was offered $1,000 also. Unions never ever fight for your best, I've found. But then that's just me. I've always... Maybe it was because there's too many union men are current buns and... that I've came across. That's the stark reality in Scotland. The majority of them that I came across. But anyway, we move on. It is a dying breed. Martin O'Neill, head of recruitment, better. Nah. Digby Brown. Called Digby Brown. John says there's no winners in this tug of war. The team will be the losers. Will they be the losers, or will the overall fans that are there? If this will be an interesting player. I'm reading comments on. This will be an interesting moment, and if the boys have decided to sit this one out and say we're not going, it will be interesting to see if the team across the city are banning their ultras group for the same offence, or if they just go, we'll take the 500 hit between the bigger fan base. It'll be an interesting one. But anyway, Father Martin is cut for the same cloth as Tommy Burns. Exactly, Big Des. Exactly. Do you know? And I think that Martin O'Neill taking over from Peter Lawwell, in my opinion, I mean, it's not the opinion as everyone on the channel, but in my opinion, would be a great way forward. No ex-manager would take the job as chairman, fired after a couple of weeks for being truthful. I don't think so. I think that how would he be fired? Because the only person that can fire the chairman is basically the directors. And I don't think that Martin O'Neill would... I think that Martin O'Neill is close enough to Dermot Desmond to be able to tell Dermot the truth. and the truth of any desire. Here's an interesting one for you. If Martin O'Neill was the chairman of Celtic when Ange Postecoglou turned around to Dermot and Peter inside Hampden and said, I want to go and talk to Spurs. What would Martin O'Neill's response to that have been? As an ex-manager with vast experience of English football and Scottish football. And you can understand that, yeah, Ange has always wanted a crack at the big league. He's all, you know, and you could sit and go, would he take it? Anyway. Martin O'Neill would give them a fight. He speaks his mind. Yeah, I think so. 73 is too old for the stress of the job. Besides, his legacy is great. You could change that suddenly in today's fickle world. No, I suppose you've got something with that one. Boycott Europa League games. Merch, something that will affect the board. Well, by the looks of it, tomorrow night, there is going to be economic action against Celtic, whether it is boycotting merchandise, whether it is... This is where it gets interesting with the fans collective, because this is where you'll find out what the real desire for change is at football and at the club. And it'll be interesting to see what the collective development and membership will cost. Nobody spoke about membership costs when we signed up for this. And would you sign up for the membership? I think it'll be a good thing. And I think if we can use the cash to finance the buying of shares, it can only be a good thing. Could buy up those 750,000 shares that a certain company has just sold to sell off for profits. But anyway. I'm just catching up what some of the media are now saying about the whole fan boycott. Because let's face it, the Green Brigade are saying that they're boycotting the match. The Ultras Group has not received any tickets for the match at the SPFL, charged with violating Rule H34. Therefore, their supporters letting off pyrotechnics against Aberdeen in the Premier Sports Cup. We all knew that this was coming. We've known since last season that this was coming. Both Celtic and Rangers have been cut by half 500. Green Brigade statement: as a result of the ticket allocation reduction, the Green Brigade has received no tickets, although we wholeheartedly reject the notion of collective punishment. If you're in the Green Brigade, you're going to get punished for being part of the Green Brigade. It's always happened. It's nothing new. There's been full section bans for various things over the years. I mean, I can go back to the game at Motherwell, where Celtic agreed to allow pictures to be taken of the seats, when what really happened was there was a rush from the back of the stand after we scored a goal late on, and people put their foot up on the seats to try and stop them going forward, and the fucking seats just collapsed. It wasn't people trying to rip out the seats. Do you know, it was the case of they were old and rusty, and you could pull them. Kids could have pulled them off the seats, off the concrete, and the whole section was banned then. So it's not the first time that there's been a suspension of the whole section due to things that have went on. So the thing that I've got with it, we are committed with the goal of development Celtic Fans Collective, which is the best apparatus for improving the experience of all fans. And like I said, maybe we should change the poll. We're at 264. Martin O'Neill's got this one all day long. 266, 267, 268. Yeah, Martin O'Neill's got it got this one all day long. Let's do another quick poll. It's been over 700 people on. There's a new poll. There's 274 people on. Let's get as much votes for this one as possible. Do you agree with pyro at games? Do you agree with pyro at games? And this will be an interesting one, because if the Green Brigade and the Fans Collective, there's other groups within the collective. There's a lot of fans groups, fan supporters clubs, and buses that have nothing to do with the Green Brigade, nothing to do with the boys. Do you know? So it would be interesting if the Fans Collective back the Green Brigade on this notion that they shouldn't all be banned. It then looks as if it's the Green Brigade that's running the Fans Collective, which is not. There's an awful. There's been 70 votes in straight away, and 61% saying no, they do not agree with pyros at games. It's now 62%. I think this is a poll that needs to go on the main channel, just to on the main. It's an interesting one because I think that it will split the fans. This one. Pyros at games, but it can't vape. Don't care. I'm a chain smoker. Yes, in a controlled area. Well, the Green Brigade would say, well, it's in a controlled area. And the club will say, well, we'll wait until the first accident. We'll wait until the first person gets a burn. We'll wait till the first kid, 17-year-old, gets an eye taken out or something like that. That's the way that the club will push it. If you could just say of pyro next to me, it would fuck me up. I suffer with COVID. It says Stuart. Wouldn't be the same without pyros. But the pyro at Celtic Park isn't a weekly thing, is it? And you've got to remember that Celtic have already got the Green Brigade by the balls, and they've got a suspended ban at Celtic Park for letting off pyro. There's a suspended ban in Europe for letting off pyro. This isn't the first instance of the Green Brigade letting off pyro and there being repercussions. The thing that I've got with it is including the collective and saying that the whole fan experience, making it better for every fan. I don't think that pyro makes it better for every fan. I can't say that because I believe pyro makes it better personally, but it does not make the experience better for every fan, because there are people out there with medical conditions that, you know, shouldn't see. Must be an alternative pyro that are safe these days. Hail the boy says I like pyro. The vote's sitting at 64% now for against pyro. Not bothered about pyro, won't stop anyone from using it, says Albert. Replace pyro with the silly sting spray. Oh, Jesus. This is the foam stuff at the tin. Oh, mate. I'm all for boycotting merch, but it's up and coming Christmas. How do you explain it to kids that you're not getting the tops, etc., because your dad's boycotting merchandise? Well, Eddie, you're not alone, because people were saying yesterday on Twitter that they were amazed how many people were going into the Celtic shop and buying the new merchandise. It was out. Lorna says if it was controlled safely, but it's not safe as it stands. It doesn't in fact affect the fans with breathing issues. There's all sorts of lasers and light shows that the club will invest in, or could invest in. takes it away from the fans, though, doesn't it? I mean, the club brought in the disco lights, trying to let off a bit of atmosphere. If they were to put lasers in one section of the ground, would that appease the Green Brigade and the boys? But then again, the club would then say, well, you have fucking wrecked the lasers. You smashed up the lasers that are in the section. You've got to look at everything. Chillboy hates pyros. Stringy silly string spray is safe, Lorna. Yeah. There must be a safer option these days. Well, you would think so, wouldn't you? You would think so. But then they want to create something that's... And you understand why they're doing it. Because, one, it's illegal. And they're getting away with it. Des. The days before Pyro. Ibrox Park. The days before Pyro. I can remember Beach Ball Sunday. I can remember Ticker Tape Sunday, where the Green Brigade used their initiative and didn't go down the pyro route. So they took in thousands upon thousands of bags of ticker tape, and they handed them out before, and they asked all the supporters, bring ticker tape. Just rip up sheets of A5 and make your own, whatever. Bring ticker tape. And it was all unleashed at the same time. And it was fantastic. And it was safe. So you're right. Do you know, there's a lot of people saying there has to be safe alternatives. And if you can remember Beach Ball Sunday, pyro techniques. Get some sparkles. Never had pyro in the jungle, and the atmosphere was way better. It's true, but the fans... Toilet roll. Yeah, I could use toilet roll. Joseph says, hi guys, how do you control a powerful firework? Move on to something new and safer. We won the European Cup without pyros. Grow up, says Mark. Yeah, I'm all for adult conversation about this one, because it's. I just fear now that with the wording of the Green Brigade statement and the boys' statement, it could be seen that it is the Green Brigade that are running the fans collective. And it'll be interesting to see what the collective say about this tomorrow night, if it's brought up in the meeting at all. I suppose it will be brought up in the meeting. Unions fill their own back pockets when the truth is told, says Hail Hail the Boys. Install vents on the north curved section of the roof. But then it's the top tier of the north curve that isn't letting off the pyro. So the people that sit in the top tier, who have pretty much no affiliation to the Green Brigade, are then having to breathe in smoke that they don't like or don't want. You go to football to watch your team play, not fucking pyro display. It's dangerous. The board will only support themselves and Police Scotland at the end of the day, says Paul. What's the point of watching green smoke when it's about the park? It's nonsense, says Jim. I'm just going through some of these. When you sing like Celtic, who needs it? Well, that's the thing, is we don't sing like Celtic anymore. The fan base doesn't sing the way it used to. It doesn't sing as a collective. I mean, Celtic are begging people to buy tickets for the European game and says, come and help us recreate that big European experience. the atmosphere at Celtic Park, and it's never been created for a long time, has it? The atmosphere at European, and even that Champions League games last year, the atmosphere wasn't what it used to be. Definitely not. Do you agree with Pyro sitting at 63%? For no, 37% for. And that's 126 votes so far. The other one had 700 odd votes. What was it? I can't remember. Where was it? Where was the other poll? Oh, I've lost it. And let's jump back into some of the comments to see what you're saying about this atmosphere. I love a happy party atmosphere. Get a cheerleader brigade. Yeah, they've took the 500 tickets off the Green Brigade, but the boys are now saying that, well, the Green Brigade are saying it's unfair to take the 500 tickets away from the Green Brigade because it wasn't the 500 people in the Green Brigade that let off the pyro. And the Green Brigade are saying, but we're not going into the game. On the other hand, the boys Ultras group have said, well, you know, if the Green Brigade are banned for the pyro, we're not going in either. So used to be a battle off and on the park, stunting and knitting contest. We need pyros, atmosphere. There's something wrong. Yeah, if we need pyros for atmosphere, there is something wrong, and there is something wrong with the modern support. I just hope that maybe this is the game at Hampden where the bigger and wider fan base do make the atmosphere. It's an away it's an away game, but then you do get too many of the people that's... Did you hear the post office just recalled their stamps? No. 268 on the last vote. Thank you for that. 200, is that all it was? I thought it was more than that. Is that all it was? I thought it was more. So anyway, that's about it for this evening. It's going to be interesting when we get back to Friday. We will have a certain interview with the manager. I wonder what he'll be asked about this week, how much it will be dedicated to the game and how much will be dedicated to off-field subjects. Sunday kickoff. By then there'll be a lot of games played before us, and I think Hearts will have played as well. Can Hearts extend their league at their lead at the top of the table? I mean, I haven't even looked at the SPFL. Let me just go into the SPFL. Let's have an early look. It's only Wednesday, but we usually do this on a Thursday. Let's have an early look at the fixtures for the William Hill Premiership this weekend. Hibernian Livingston is on Saturday. Hibernian will be looking to try and win that game. Motherwell Falkirk, interesting game. Rangers Dundee United at Ibrox. The Boo Boys will be out in force for that one if they get beat, I tell you. The managerless Rangers, can they get a manager before the weekend? I kind of think they were hoping they would, wouldn't they? It's St Mirren versus Aberdeen. That's a tasty game. Aberdeen are ranked rotten at the moment. St Mirren are pretty much flying. And Kilmarnock versus Hearts. Oh, grudge match for Derek McInnes. Derek McInnes, the ex-Kilmarnock manager. Kilmarnock, who are doing not too bad. And then the Celtic game is on the Sunday, away to Dundee. When you look at the table, I mean, the Kilmarnock one, Kilmarnock are sitting third in the table. Kilmarnock are playing some good football. goals for. They've scored 11 goals. Could be a tidy goal scoring game, that one, because Kilmarnock have they've conceded 8. Hearts have conceded 6. So yeah, Hearts will be wanting to extend their lead at the top, and Kilmarnock will want to close in on Celtic because they'll believe that Celtic are there for the taking. They're in second place. Put enough pressure on them. Sit the low block. It's an easy one. And St Mirren are doing quite well. And when you look at the bottom half of the table, the bottom 6, you have Hibernian in 7th place. You have Rangers in 8th, Livingston in 9th, Falkirk in 10th, Dundee in 11th, and Aberdeen will be wanting to try and overtake Dundee. They'll be thinking like Celtic will beat Dundee and we'll be able to overtake them, and then that'll be us. The fight back will be on, but by that time Hearts could be further in front, and that would just give them a boost more than anything. Right, Stephen Johnson's just given us a fantastic super chat. Thanks for that, Stephen. Thank you for that, my friend. He says, hit the thumbs up, please. And I hope you're doing well, Stephen, after your news the other week. Let's finish off that poll vote. I need one vote to get it to 145 votes. Do you agree with pyro at the games? 61% are saying no, 39% are saying yes, they do. Interesting. Very interesting one. I want to end the poll. That's that one ended. And it's been an interesting night. It'll be even more interesting tomorrow. I will be live tomorrow night. I will obviously be attending the online meeting. I won't be there in person due to distance. I'm not flying back just for that. And I will give you an update tomorrow evening right after the meeting of roughly what happened. Anyway, on that note, have an absolutely fantastic evening, Celtic fans, wherever you are, all around the world. It's been quite a good night tonight. It's been quite a good night. Quite pleased with that. Have a fantastic evening, wherever you are, all around the world.